Hello, my name is Chris Wall. I'm going to be talking about the history of breast cancer.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel Simmons, and I'm going to be talking about the history of the Susan G. Komen Foundation.
I'm Nick Grabowski, and I'm going to be talking about the facts and activities that go on in the Susan G. Komen in the program.
I'm Ryan Perkins, and I'm going to discuss why you should pick our group.
All right, some of the history on breast cancer. Breast cancer was known in ancient times, but it was still uncommon in the 19th century when improvements in sanitation and control of deadly infection diseases resulted in dramatic increases in lifespan. Breast surgery back then carried a very high mortality rate, so they preferred treatments tended to be pharmacological rather than surgical. Herbal and mineral preparations were very common. Scottish surgeon Benjamin Bell and French surgeon Jean-Louis Petit were the first to remove the lymph nodes, breast tissue, and underlying chest muscle. The 20-year survival rates were only 10% after receiving these surgical treatments, though, and patients were left in serious pain throughout the rest of their life. Europe began doing radiation treatment in the 1950s, and then when they did radiation treatments, they would oftentimes take the breast. Breast cancer in men was not uncommon either. As Europe used radiation, America was still using radical mastectomies, which were not nearly as effective. People believe this was because Europe had many more women surgeons. In the early 1980s and early 1990s, thousands of women who had successfully completed standard treatment then needed a high-dose bone marrow transplant. Then it would lead to better long-term survival. The oldest description of breast cancer was discovered in Egypt and dates back to approximately 1600 BC. Breast cancer was the most common type of cancer that is described in ancient documents. They didn't have autopsies back then, so cancer of the internal organs was almost invisible. And for breast cancer, you could see it or you could feel it. That's how they would be able to tell if you had breast cancer. There was no cure for this back then. And in the 18th century, a wide variety of medical explanations were proposed. Some people thought breast cancer was caused by the lack of sexual activity, too much sexual activity, physical injuries to the breast, and wearing restrictive clothing. These were some of the theories in the 18th century.
The Susan G. Komen Foundation was actually started by Susan G. Komen's sister, who is Nancy G. Brinker, and they were very close sisters, with Nancy being the younger sister. She thought that her older sister Susan was very perfect and everything like that. She was kind and loving to everyone, and she was a star of her hometown in Pura, Illinois. And she actually became a model at one point in her life. At age 33, Susan was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and she went through many radiation treatments after that day, but she never got better. So Nancy G. Brinker promised her sister that she would do everything in her power to end breast cancer forever, for her sake. In 1982, the Susan G. Komen Foundation was launched against breast cancer. Since then, there have been more than $2.5 billion money donated towards it, or invested towards ending breast cancer forever. And they're hoping to find groundbreaking research to end breast cancer.
Some of the facts about this group is that they provide face-to-face talk with women who are battling this disease. People battling the disease can become hopeless and surrender to their disease. With the help of face-to-face support, a patient's confidence can become sufficiently better than the charge to overcome this disease and will grow, and hopefully the patient will pull through with these visits and new medicines that have been invested in. The specific nonprofit group participants in multiple fundraisers, such as bowling, cook-offs, golf outings, and their famous 60-mile 3-day walk. The famous 3-day walk is a weekend event, and you are sent off on a 60-mile journey in a true 3-day style. Singing and dancing, you will walk approximately 20 miles a day, and at each end of each day, you'll be welcomed back into a camp, a mobile city filled with dining, tent, hot showers, and 2-person sleeping tents, evening entertainment, and all kinds of fun activities and helpful resources. With the help of participants and sponsors, they raise hundreds and thousands of dollars annually to help fundraisers and other activities. Donating this charity will not only help them hold more events, but will give them a chance to spread and grow their organization.
This group has been a huge part of the cure for breast cancer by donating over $2.5 billion to breast cancer over the past 32 years. This is the largest nonprofit organization in the breast cancer awareness group that has provided over $800 million just to research since 1982. This group of people also does face-to-face visits with cancer patients, and with the help of these face-to-face visits with these cancer patients, they can become sufficiently better and overcome, because their morale is obviously going to grow. Also, the money that they provide will also find new medicines and everything else to help them get better. Along with all the fundraisers, by donating this group, they'll be able to have a lot more fundraisers, which will obviously get their name out there more. A lot more people will volunteer. Just spreading the word to people is the main thing that they're trying to get across. And the best way to do that is to hold more events, and by giving them more money, they'll be able to hold a lot more events, get their name out there, hopefully worldwide, not only just in America. And that's pretty much going to cover it.